Okay, what we're going to do is talk about one of the sweetest little airplanes around that nobody understands. What we're talking about is the Hangar 9, and I know I've ditched this Hangar 9 products a lot because I think they got some good ideas and some bad ideas. I think one of the best ideas they've come along with was many of the products they have designed over in China, like this Hangar 9, which is the the F-22 deal, is that the basic air structure, the airframe, is excellent. Then they put a cheap engine on there to make money. They put that Evo engine on there, kind of a Russian-Chinese type of deal. And if you take that engine off there and you put this, of course, OS engine on there, you get a good old OS on there. A little, this one here is a 40, 46, something like that. Put a little prop on there. You're going to have a sweet, really a sweet flying airplane. And it flies. It really does fly. What we want to look at, though, is some of the adaptations you really need to make to this aircraft to make it fly good. Some of these adaptations, of course, you're going to be using a little bit of skill to make, but they're not big. I mean, swapping out the OS engine is no big deal. I mean, this engine comes off and goes on, as you can see with the bolt patterns there, really fast. I don't fly it with the little cowling. The cowlings are a nuisance. They're for looks. We don't fly for looks here. Okay, but one of the major adaptations is, see how the engine is turned at a 90 degrees instead of the cylinder head up top, which is the easiest way to fly one. This is turned at 90 degrees, which is the next best way to fly one. One good reason you have, they did this, was that you hide that ugly engine when you put a cowl on it on one side, and makes the airplane look good. But the other thing is that the carburetor won't flood when you work it like this, but it'll still pick up enough fuel when you go to start that it's very easy starting. Okie dokie. But besides the engine, what you also do is you need to make this adaptation down here where the wheel is. Now, notice how the engine is turned at 90 degrees. That means the mount for the engine, which OS puts, or I should say a Hangar 9 puts an excellent aluminum type or some kind of metal, bimetal mount on here, which is just excellent. And if you see, it has holes both in two directions as far landing gear. Well, go ahead and take your landing gear and take it out of where Hangar 9 put it, and put it up here on the metal, which provides you, of course, a place to put your landing gear on. And if you do that and then run right, as we see right here, we're running an extension of the rudder and nose wheel steering unit. Just run it right out the hole. And for adaptations, you can use cut the rod and use to join those rods. Just go ahead and use some a fuel line, which works just perfectly. I mean, this is not a real demanding model, but when you make this adaptation, you're going to have a really durable aircraft. You're not going to be destroying your landing gear all the time. It changes the CD. Also, just for cosmetic effects, go ahead and take that terrible Evo pilot that it got in there, that Hangar 9 Evo pilot, and put you in a good nitroplane pilot. That one comes from Nitroplanes, just excellent. It's I think it's like a 11th scale or something like that. Just beautiful little job. Makes the airplane look super. Makes it look all souped up and everything. Okay, on this airplane we have other adaptations, of course. As we've noted before, we have the no-bias winglets. On one of our very first Raptors, we put wings from an old Diablo, which worked pretty good too, actually excellent. But they are very draggy and they reduce the speed of your aircraft. So with these no-bias winglets, you can make them, and as you can see, anybody who's pretty good at making, you can add these. They're a patent pending, but don't let that get in your way. That's my patent. I'm not too worried about it. As long as you don't make any money off the deal and you're doing it for research, well, tell me what you find. But as you can see, these winglets here are going to add extra lift, although this aircraft really doesn't need the extra lift if you're working off a good runway. But if you're not working off a good runway, well, the extra lift will really shorten up the runway and your speeds, both your takeoff speeds and landing speeds, and you won't get whip stall. Now, this airplane can whip stall on you in a heartbeat. You can get it up to about 7.5 to 8 pounds working on it right now. I think this one's coming in